But people like Ron DeSantis aren't talking about that. Do you see people like Jim Jordan or Matt Gaetz or Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or any of the big faces of the Republican Party? Do you see any of them talking about this issue? Do you see any of the top Republicans trying to figure out, working with Democrats on how to lower the cost of prescription drugs? The answer is no, because many of the Republicans today are not actually talking about the issues that you and I really care about putting food on the table, about trying to lower cost when it comes to prescription drugs, health care. The real issues that Americans are facing in this country, you don't hear Republicans talking about those issues. What are they doing about the gun control problems in this country? What are they doing? So I want to open up the phone lines now, and I want to ask you this, because Joe Biden's going to be in Las Vegas tonight. He's going to be speaking tomorrow. He's going to be talking about Big Pharma. He's going to be talking about what he's trying to do to lower the cost of prescription drugs. He's not trying to sell a book like Ron DeSantis was doing here in Vegas a few days ago. He's not talking about wokeness. He's not talking about, people reading books to children because maybe they're men dressed up as women. Maybe, we want to abolish that and get rid of it. Joe Biden's not going to be talking about that. Joe Biden's not going to be talking about critical race theory. No. Joe Biden's not going to be talking about how allegedly teachers are indoctrinating our kids. No. Joe Biden is coming to Las Vegas because the state of Nevada has some of the highest prescription drug prices in the country. And Joe Biden is taking it upon himself not to hold a campaign rally or do something to help him, to come to Nevada to try to help you and me, to try to lower the cost of prescription drugs. That is what Joe Biden is coming to Las Vegas for. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the phone lines, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I want to know what you think, number one, the back and forth when it comes to the bank and what happened at Silicon Valley with the bank collapse. But I also want to ask you this. What do you think about Joe Biden talking about lowering the cost of prescription drugs, coming to Las Vegas tonight, speaking to some people in Las Vegas tomorrow, as opposed to Ron DeSantis, who just spoke in Las Vegas? He didn't talk about prescription drug prices. He didn't talk about health care. He didn't talk about any of that stuff. In fact, he didn't have any solutions. All Ron DeSantis did was talk about wokeness and how teachers are indoctrinating our kids. He spoke about critical race theory, and that's the red meat of the Republican Party. Who would you rather have as a leader? I guess that's the real question I'm asking you, because every day that goes by, it appears as though Donald Trump is not going to be maybe the front runner for the Republican Party. He's in a lot of trouble. Who would you rather speak to? Who would you rather have as president of the United States? Maybe you're a Ron DeSantis fan, and I want to hear from you, and that's fine. But if you're a Ron DeSantis fan, I want you to call in right now. Maybe you're a Joe Biden fan. What do you think about Joe Biden coming to Las Vegas? And what do you think about Ron DeSantis coming to Las Vegas and the differences of why they are here? Here's the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Here we go. 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to join the conversation. That number, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-SAVE. If you would rather have Ron DeSantis speaking about critical race theory and wokeness, then I want to hear from you, and I want you to tell me why. Why is that more important to you? What do you think about Joe Biden coming here talking about one issue that's important to all Americans, which is lowering the cost of prescription drugs? So I'm going to take a break, and we're going to take your phone calls on the other side of the break. I want to hear from you. Ron DeSantis visit, the things that he's talking about on his tour, and Joe Biden coming to Las Vegas talking about what he is trying to do to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Again, that number. Like Ron DeSantis, hate Ron DeSantis, Joe Biden, you tell me. 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. That's the number to call.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices. Office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554. Look, it's impossible for the average person to find a great attorney out there. There's so much misinformation. Now, let me introduce you to former Chief Deputy District Attorney Thomas Moskal. He was Las Vegas's top DUI prosecutor for years. He prosecuted the most high-profile DUI cases in Clark County. No one knows more about DUI law in Nevada. Just Google it. If you get charged with DUI, whether it's a misdemeanor or even more importantly, a felony, you need Thomas Moskal representing you. His relationships with the prosecutors and judges and his knowledge of DUI law to work for you. So give him a call now or text him at 702-848-5555. It's your life and liberty that's at stake. Don't wait. Call now. That number again, 702-848-5555.
The London Bridge Resort in Lake Havasu is the perfect place to vacation in style. Their beautifully designed suites include stunning views, a kitchenette, and free Wi-Fi. The well-reviewed and affordable resort has tons of amenities, including a breakfast buffet, kids camp, a 9-hole golf course, 3 pools, a marina, boat tours, a water slide, and a great nightlife scene. London Bridge Resort is centrally located in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Go to londonbridgeresort.com to plan your getaway today. London Bridge Resort, your Arizona oasis destination.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. So glad that you can join us. Coming up in hour number 2, breaking news. Darren Waller traded to the Giants. Big news here, Raider Nation. We'll be talking to Brian Salmon from Channel 3 Sports about that. And, of course, Garoppolo. Wow, you want to talk about some 2 big acquisitions or trades, acquisitions, whatever you want to call it in the last 24 hours. We got Mr. Garoppolo from the 49ers, and Darren Waller is gone. Kelsey Plum can't be too happy about that, but we'll be talking about that with Brian Salmon, top of the hour. Jamison Welsh joining us in hour number 2 with a little NCAA bracketology. Here's what we've been talking about. Joe Biden is arriving in Las Vegas tonight. I know it's going to cause some traffic headaches for a lot of people, but the reason why Joe Biden is in Las Vegas is not because he's selling a book. He's not talking about wokeness. This isn't a campaign stop, as Donald Trump seemed to do for 4 years. They were more rallies than anything else. Joe Biden is talking about an issue facing Americans, and the reason why he's coming to Nevada to talk about lowering the cost of prescription drugs is because Nevada, at the highest level throughout the country of prescription drugs, they're higher than any other, my estimation on what I read, than any other state in the country. So here's Joe Biden. He's coming to Las Vegas because he's trying to do something about this issue, which is very important, by the way. And then we just had Ron DeSantis in town. Ron DeSantis wasn't talking about lowering the cost of prescription drugs. Ron DeSantis wasn't talking about a replacement plan for Obamacare. Ron DeSantis wasn't talking about solutions to lowering the gun violence in this country. Maybe tax breaks for middle-class Americans. He wasn't talking about any of the major issues facing this country. What Ron DeSantis was talking about in Las Vegas, well, before I even get to what he talked about, the reason why Ron DeSantis was here were 2 reasons. More of a campaign stop, even though he's still the governor of Florida. He's supposed to be governing. It's more of a campaign stop because we all know he's going to be running for president. And it was to sell his book. Let's call it for what it is. It's a book tour. Ron DeSantis was here to make money. He was talking about critical race theory, which virtually doesn't exist. It's a lie among the Republicans in the Republican Party. It's a lie. He was talking about drag queens reading books to our kids because, as we all know, so many kids are dying, right, because of drag queens reading books in libraries. That's a joke. And he was talking about the red meat in Joe Biden and his administration, blaming Joe Biden for many of the issues that Donald Trump was facing during his presidency as well. But you see, Republicans don't have solutions to problems. Republicans don't have solutions to all the real issues facing this nation. They just want to go with the red herrings. Critical race theory. Let's talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. And let's make up lies and disinformation. That is what Republicans have been doing, and that's what they will continue to do. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree with me. Opening up the phone lines, 702-221-7283. And let's give out that number one more time, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to John. I believe John is first up. John, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, John, go right ahead.
Just heard a funny moan or groan there. Look, it's real simple, folks. The only thing the Republicans do is they just peddle in fear and hate. That's all. And DeSantis was here to make money off of peddling fear and hate. And Biden's here to solve a real problem. And look at this Silicon Valley Bank collapse. I mean, this is a perfect example of everything that's wrong in America. This bank failed based on fundamental mismanagement. I mean, this is basic banking 101 management when you have a large amount of one fixed asset, and this bank had a tremendous amount in treasury bonds, and the interest rates go up, the value of your assets declines. Mm-hmm. And so you have to hedge against rising interest rates.
So I agree.
And they failed to...
John,
failed to do
I agree with you, John, and I think what I'm trying to do here as well is talk about the fundamental difference between the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and his visit to Las Vegas tonight and tomorrow, and the visit that Ron DeSantis made. And to me, it speaks volumes about where the Republican Party is at and where the Democratic Party is at. Ron DeSantis came here, as you know, to try to sell a book and make money. He didn't talk about policy changes. He didn't talk about things he's going to do to help this country or help Nevada or even people in his own state in Florida. He was there to sell a book, to talk about critical race theory, which virtually doesn't exist, to talk about how all these teachers are indoctrinating our kids, how the Joe Biden administration is bad, bad, bad. But like DeSantis, the Republicans have no solutions to the problems that real Americans are facing in this country. And then you have Joe Biden, who's coming to Las Vegas. And I know a lot of Republicans, we don't want Sleepy Joe here. Where Joe Biden is coming here not for a campaign rally, not to sell a book, not to talk about issues that don't exist, but to talk about the real issue of lowering prescription drug costs. Because as you know, the state of Nevada has some of the highest prescription drugs costs in the country. He's coming here to help people. And DeSantis came here to make money and lie.
Yeah, if you just give me 10 seconds, I would have swung it and tied it all together. It's just unbelievable that when a bank failed, it failed because of fundamental, basic mismanagement. Yet Donald Trump Jr. and the Republicans are they peddle in fear and hate, so they're just ready to jump all over it, just like DeSantis was, peddling all the fear and hate to try to sell books. They jump all over it. The bank failed under Biden. They try to stick the blame. It's a woke bank, yada, yada, yada. It's just real simple, folks. The Republicans have there's no policy in the Republican Party. And Joe Biden did the right thing, but it's amazing. The Republicans are always crying about handouts. There's going to be a giant $1 billion corporate welfare handout coming to this, and if you have a small bank deposit, you're going to wind up paying for it in increased fees. The bottom line is the Republicans have no policies whatsoever. It's just peddling in fear and hate. That's what DeSantis did. And Biden and the Democrats, they're going to solve the banking problem. They're doing their best to solve the banking problem and to solve the prescription drug problem. It's really that simple.
Amen, brother. I couldn't have said it any better, John, and I appreciate you calling in, my friend. Thank you so much.
Good show.
Thank you. 702-221-7283 if you want to join the conversation. And again, that number, now's the time to join us, 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. I believe we have Hector on the line. Hi, Hector.
Yeah, what's up? Hey, I want to talk about something. Why are you so angry that Hunter Biden is releasing the tapes of January 6th?
Why am I so angry that Hunter Biden is releasing the tape?
No, not Hunter Biden, Tucker Carlson. Why are you so angry at that?
Okay, so Tucker Carlson didn't release the tapes. First of all, it was Kevin McCarthy. That's
I
number
know.
one.
Yeah, he gave him to Tucker
well, you
Carlson.
said-
You know
okay,
what I
let's
mean.
just-
Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Well, you know what? I'll just answer your question. Do you
Go
think
ahead, you
Tucker
can ask me a
Carlson
question.
is truthful? You think he's a pretty honest guy? He portrays things
Yes.
fairly?
Yes. Do you
Okay,
think
well, so
CNN
first
is
of all, you're
truthful?
insane, but I'll
Do
still
you-
answer your
do you think-
question.
do you think
And
CNN
here's
is
why you're
truthful?
insane, sir. Because
Do you
his
think
own
CNN is
executives
truthful?
and bosses at Fox
You're
News.
an angry little guy.
Are you
You're
going to
an
listen or
angry
are you going
little
to talk over me? Please listen, then I'll give you a chance. Tucker Carlson's executives and bosses said in court documents that Tucker Carlson should not be believed as factual and that it is purely entertainment. Those are his bosses that said that in a court statement. So, sir, with all due respect, you're wrong.
Wait, so I shouldn't believe my own eyes when I see the video that was released?
You couldn't believe with your own eyes when you see the video that was released. Sir, let me ask you a question to that.
I shouldn't believe what I'm seeing. The other
What
side
did
of
you
January
see?
6th, I
And
shouldn't
did you
believe
see
it.
the... Let me ask you a question.
I will tell you what.
Let me ask you a question. Did you see the video when police officers were being beaten with batons, being crushed, and being sprayed with bear spray? Sir, did you see that video as well?
Yeah? Did you see the video where they asked the director of the FBI if there was FBI agents embedded in January 6th and he refused to answer the question when the answer should have been no?
The FBI was not involved in January
Really?
6th. That is a
Why
conspiracy
don't you
theory. Now, let's go back to what I said earlier,
Why don't you pull
sir.
up the video?
Sir,
It's
let's
not a
go back to
conspiracy
what I
theory.
said earlier. Let's take it one topic at a time, and then we'll get to the FBI. You just said, why do I have a problem with Tucker Carlson releasing the January 6th footage? I just gave you the answer. Because 140 officers were injured that day. People died. There's over 1,000 people that were convicted. You just admitted to me that you saw the video of officers being beaten. You just admitted to me that you saw the video of some of the violence that took place on January 6th. You answered your own question because Tucker's not showing any of that video. He's only showing and cherry-picking videos. You see, sir, you could portray World War III as peaceful. If you cherry-picked video from World War III, you could portray it as peaceful. But we all know, anybody with an IQ over 20 knows, that there was violence on January 6th. You are aware of that, sir, right? Because you just admitted to me you saw the video of some of the violence, correct?
No better than CNN spreading bullshit.
All right, so obviously we have another MAGA who's not capable of having an intellectual conversation. And when I owned him, what does he do? He swears on the air, and he can't have an intellectual conversation. Thank you for the call, Hector. You are absolutely Donald Trump's base. 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Folks, I'm willing to have a conversation with people who disagree with me. I'm willing to have a conversation with people, but if you don't want facts and you don't want the truth and you dismiss the truth like so many people within the Republican Party do today, then it's very difficult to have an intellectual conversation with anybody. That man who just called in is a perfect example of that. Why do you have a problem with Tucker Carlson releasing? First of all, Tucker Carlson didn't release the videotapes. It was McCarthy. He gave it to Tucker Carlson. And then Tucker Carlson cherry-picked the video because it's dangerous for this country. Because Tucker Carlson is going to depict what took place on January 6th as a tourist visit. Even Republican senators, could be Mitch McConnell even, have said that giving the tapes to Tucker Carlson was a mistake. Giving the tapes to Tucker Carlson was a mistake because it portrays what exactly did not happen over there on January 6th. It was not peaceful. Now, I'm not saying everybody that went in there was violent. Certainly, if you storm the Capitol, that is a serious crime. But I'm not saying everybody there was violent because everybody wasn't violent, but there were many that were. And many of the video and the video footage showed that. we all watched it live, right? I would imagine many of us watched it live. And when you have Tucker Carlson's own executives and when you have Tucker Carlson's own bosses in court documents that openly admit under oath when they're being sued and they have no other choice that Tucker Carlson should not be believed as truthful or factual, that it is purely entertainment, what more do you need to know? Tucker Carlson is not a journalist. He never has been a journalist. But yet many of you, who I would imagine watched January 6th with your own eyes, right? You saw what happened. They were attacked by a violent mob, fringe right groups, white supremacists, just bad people and ignorant people, and some of them violent people. Ashley Babbitt was a terrorist. Ashley Babbitt was killed because she was a part of the mob that stormed the Capitol. And that's why Ashley Babbitt is dead. I feel sorry for her family and friends, but Ashley Babbitt did it to herself. All right, let's get back to those phone lines. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, that number to call is 702-221-7283. And we're talking, let me just reset things here real quickly. We're talking about the contrast between Joe Biden, who's coming to Las Vegas tonight, and we're talking about Ron DeSantis, who was in Las Vegas over the weekend. Again, that number, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Roger, who is next on Pushing the Limits. Hi, Roger. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Oh, hi. I just wanted to call in and ask the question. Why are you on here lying so much about this January 6th video?
Okay, so name me a thing that I lied about, sir.
Well, you refuse to let the other side be shown of...
Sir, you just said I lied. Hold on, let's start.
Why are you angry that they're showing the other side? Wouldn't you want to see both sides of the story?
Roger,
why is that
hold on. I'll respond to that, Roger.
This isn't a dictatorship.
Roger,
why are you angry at that?
Roger, if we're going to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. I'm happy to have one with you. You just started this phone call by saying I'm lying. I'm going to ask you now for a second. Hold on. I'm going to ask you now for a second time. What did I specifically lie about? Please give me that specific lie.
You're saying that Tucker Carlson is putting out a false narrative.
Absolutely, and here's why. Tucker Carlson on his show...
That is not true.
Okay, hear me out. I'm answering your question. You're claiming that, I'm lying. Tucker Carlson did not show any of the violence that took place on January 6th. He hasn't shown any of the police officers that were beaten. He hasn't shown any of the violence or the attacks that took place that day. What Tucker Carlson did is he showed bits and pieces and cherry-picked video. That is not a truthful portrayal of everything that took place that day. As I said earlier, you can cherry-pick World War III and take video footage of World War III.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case, then we could argue that the Democrats showed all the violence, right?
That the Democrats did what?
The Democrats, the January 6th committee, they showed the videos that they backed up their claims of January 6th being worse than 9/11. Do you think that's
okay? So first of all, the Democrats didn't say that January 6th was worse than 9/11. There was one person. Hold on. No, sir. When you make a statement like that, you're not. You can laugh like a fool all you want to. There was one person on that committee that made that statement.
And you guys ran with it.
Sir,
you guys ran with that point.
Sir, one person made that statement, not all Democrats. You still haven't given me a lie that I have said. And quite frankly, sir, you're wasting my time. Give me a lie that I said on this show.
A what? A lie to what? A lie? I just told you.
What you just told me what? You told me that why do you think you asked me a question and you said why do you think Tucker Carlson is putting out a false narrative, and I eloquently gave you an answer with anybody over the IQ of a 20 could understand. I'm sorry you don't understand, sir.
Typical liberal. Why?
Okay, so bottom down again. If the guy who doesn't know how to have a discussion calls me a liberal. Everything out of this guy's mouth is false. I am a registered independent. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I believe in border security. But this man wants to call me a liberal because I don't believe Tucker Carlson. Sir, this is an entertaining phone call. I got to be honest with you because you are Donald Trump's base. Is there anything else really intelligent that you want to add to this conversation, or are we done, sir?
No. You know what the problem is?
Oh, what's
Is
people like you?
facts.
You're the problem.
You don't like truth. You don't like truth. That's
I
the
don't
problem
like truth.
here.
Okay, so tell me, what's the
You
truth?
don't like truth.
So tell
You
me,
don't like
enlighten
truth.
me,
Listen,
sir.
okay,
What's
well,
the truth?
Shut up for 1 minute and let me talk. I'll get to my point. You
Yeah,
don't let
please
anybody
do,
talk.
because you haven't made one point yet.
Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Why is it if the Democrats in their January 6th clown show fucking committee they had portrayed all the videos of violence that they needed America to see?
Over 1,000 people were
Wait
arrested,
a minute,
sir.
let me talk. Why won't you let me talk?
Because everything you say is false.
See,
That's
you're a
why.
fucking clown.
Everything you say is false. Go back to the lines and we'll take another caller. Everything that guy says is false. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. I'm happy to have a debate with anybody, but that guy was a complete clown. There's really nothing I can do with people like that. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. I get that all the time, folks. Somebody will call me a liar, and then when I say, okay, tell me what I said that was a lie. You think Tucker Carlson is portraying one narrative. Well, no, I don't think that. Actually, Republicans think that as well. Republican senators have said they didn't like the way Tucker Carlson was portraying January 6th. What is this guy trying to say? That January 6th was some sort of peaceful protest? That there was no violence? I don't even know what that guy's point is. He makes absolutely no sense. But again, I say this, and I try to say it respectfully. People that are not intelligent enough to understand what took place on January 6th will believe Tucker Carlson. They'll believe Tucker Carlson, and they'll believe what took place on January 6th was nothing more than some sort of tourist visit. And that's not what happened. We all know that's not what happened. Based on the people that were arrested and charged in a court of law. All right, let's get back to the phone line, 702-221-7283. I believe we have Ken who's up next. Hi, Ken. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. So I was watching that video that everyone's talking about of, I think it was the guy with the head, the famous, I don't know who he was, what he was
Shaman
wearing on
guy?
his
Yeah,
head.
I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So I watched that, and there was one point where he's standing there at the doors, and he's saying, that everyone should turn back, and that the President Trump, who wasn't technically president at the time, but had asked everyone to turn around and leave. So I think what happened there was an abomination, and it was wrong, and it was disgusting. But, the truth, all of the truth matters. Like if you were a defendant in a trial, you would want all the truth to come out.
So let me respond to that. So, sir, that man that you're speaking of, including every other defendant, had the opportunity to prove their case in the court of law with attorneys present. If you believe in our justice system, they went through the process. A lot of them struck plea deals because the attorneys, and they knew they were guilty, and some of them were charged, some of them were convicted. Many of them were convicted. They had their day in court, right? And what more could you want there?
Well, they did have their day in court.
Right. So what's the argument then? I'm trying to understand.
Not really an argument.
Okay,
There's
so
a
what's
point where
your
he's
point?
standing there, and he's saying that the president has asked everyone to go home.
But
that
he
we
did not
follow
go
the
home.
law.
He broke into the Capitol. He stormed the Capitol. He was there for quite
That's
a
right.
while. He did not
That's
leave.
right.
And it doesn't matter
didn't.
if he said, hey, we should all leave. I don't know where you're seeing that video because I didn't see that video. I don't know where you saw that from. But even if that was true, his attorneys in court would have had the right to have played that. They didn't, so I don't believe that exists. And even if it did, he had his day in court, and that's why he's in jail right now. He was convicted.
Yes. Well, I watched that video. That part of the video is out there. Yeah, he belongs in jail. What he did was wrong. It was horrible. What all those people did was wrong. I'm not justifying him or Trump or any of their actions.
Okay.
But there was one point, I don't know why he went in, when he was telling everyone to please turn around and leave. He was holding up a phone. He was holding up some kind of tape player or something. He was saying that Trump was telling everyone to go home.
Well, that's not true.
What we do.
Well, that's not true. Because, and here's why I don't believe this story.
It's what I heard.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? Sir, when this started, when the January 6th insurrection started, it took Trump over 4 hours to put out a video. This insurrection did not last 4 hours. So I don't believe that there's a video of out there of him saying that. But here's the thing. Even if he did say that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't help his case because he still stormed the Capitol. He still went in there and he broke the law.
He did.
And, he's got a price to pay, right? Right, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
And the guy who called up before, right, and the guy who called up before, Hector, or whatever his name was, who claimed that I'm lying because I'm claiming that
I didn't say that.
Tucker Carlson, I know you didn't say that, but the last guy did, that I'm lying because I'm trying to portray Tucker Carlson as putting forth one narrative. Might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Everybody knows that. Even Republicans know that's what Tucker Carlson is doing, right?
Well, it's, I don't know if that's a news show or entertainment or, what it is. But
I hear you, my friend. Listen, I appreciate you calling in. I got to get to some other calls, but I appreciate you calling in, sir. Thank you very much, okay?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, that is the number, ladies and gentlemen. 702-221-SAVE. Even though I can't promise you I can save you any money, I'll do my best, but I don't know if I can. 702-221-7283. All right, let's go to Steve. Steve is next up on Pushing the Limits. What's up, Steve?
What's up, dude? Why do you keep hanging up on me?
All right. Well, first of all, let me explain to you how a radio show works, Steve. You see, you get one shot to call me, okay? You get one chance. This isn't your radio show. The reason why I keep hanging up on you or disconnecting on you is because, quite frankly, sir, you're not smart enough to have a conversation with me. You're a waste of my time. You are also known as Donald Trump's base, and I'm not going to waste any more of my time with you. That's why I keep hanging up on you, sir. So if you're going to call into a radio show in the future, you get one shot at it. You're not a guest. You don't get a 25-minute interview, number one. And number two, if you're going to accuse somebody of lying, then you have to have facts to back it up. Example. And this might be tough for some of you MAGAs to understand, but I'll do the best I can to explain it to you. Here's a lie. I won the election in a landslide. Joe Biden cheated and the Democrats cheated. Donald Trump said that. That's why January 6th happened. There was no evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have overturned the outcome of the election. To this day, Donald Trump still lies about it, sir. That's what we call a lie. Okay? When you call in and say, well, you're lying because you're claiming that Tucker Carlson has one narrative. That's not a lie, sir. That's called something called logic. That's what that is. When you call into a radio show, you get one shot at me, and that's it. And you've now called in multiple times. And I suggest, sir, you do a little bit of your own homework and not by watching Tucker Carlson. And you actually maybe do what Lauren Boebert did and try to get that GED last second and then call me back tomorrow. How does that sound, sir? I'll make a deal with you. How does that sound? All right. Number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. This is the red meat of the Republican Party today. Downplay January 6th. Listen to Tucker Carlson. Talk about critical race theory. Talk about how drag queens are reading books in front of our kids in libraries. It's the worst thing in the world. Talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. Joe Biden's not doing that. He's coming to Las Vegas tonight. Why is he here? He's not here trying to sell a book. Joe Biden's not coming here tonight trying to make money or trying to get your vote. Joe Biden's being the president of the United States, understanding that we have an issue in this country when it comes to high and the cost of prescription drugs. He's coming to Las Vegas tonight to talk about that. That's what Joe Biden is doing. Ron DeSantis just came to town trying to sell a book. That's what Ron DeSantis did. He was trying to sell a book. He was on his little book tour. That's what he's trying to do. 702-221-7283 is the number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation. That's 702-221-7283. 7283 if you want to be a part of the show. All right. So we got a couple people waiting on hold, so we're going to get to those phone calls and try to, make some sense. 702-221-7283. All right, so Chris was at the Ron DeSantis event, I believe. So let's go to Chris. Hi, Chris. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Brian. No problem. Yeah, he wasn't selling the book. He was giving it away.
Okay, so, yeah, I understand that. So the people that showed up at the event, he gave the book away. But it was a promotion for the book so that he could still sell the book. I do understand that he gave the book away for free to the people that showed up that day. But he is on a book tour. It's promotional. As you know, some people, they'll show up to events and they'll give things away for free to promote what they're trying to do to make money. You understand what I'm saying, right, Chris?
Yeah, and by giving them away, he can claim that he sold a certain amount of copies because that the PAC that was actually putting on the event is the one that bought the book.
Yeah, understood. But it goes to my original point, which was Ron DeSantis was here for one reason, to make money. And Joe Biden's coming here tonight not to make money, to talk about the lowering the cost of prescription drugs. That's my only point, really.
Yeah. Well, no, it seemed like he was also here to lay the foundation for his campaign here. All of the Nevada GOP and Clark County GOP people were in Carson City for their big state meeting, so he didn't have to run into any of those people. He got to meet a bunch of people.
Well, let me ask you a question then. What did Ron DeSantis talk about? Health care? Did he talk about gun control? Did he talk about replacing Obamacare?
I got in there and waited for an hour and a half and then decided to go get some French fries. Ron DeSantis made us all wait so long that I bailed out on him. I got copies of the book and then went and got a
I
snack.
hear you, my man. All right, so you sound like a reasonable guy. Tell me, why do you like Ron DeSantis? Like, what are some of his policies that you like?
I don't like him. I just wanted to go see him speak and see all the Republicans show up.
I do that too, Chris.
I like to go to those kind of things. I do a podcast. You're familiar with me, so I go to these events and then I talk about those things at the on the podcast. So
okay, understood. So you waited an hour and a half and then you got French fries. I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it looks like Ron DeSantis is having, eating a lot of French fries as well. So, but hey, I got to say this: DeSantis looks pretty sexy in those white boots. I got to give him credit. Chris, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Man. Check out the PAA podcast.
All right, thanks, Chris. 702-221-7283. Who do we have next on the line here? We have Ron. Ron is next. No, Ron has left the building. All right. So here's what we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a break and we're going to reset things here a little bit. Coming up next, there's a lot of Raider news out there in the last 24 hours. The Raiders have a new quarterback. That is Mr. Garoppolo. They just signed him to a 3-year deal. But breaking news today is that Darren Waller has been traded to the New York Giants. What better person to talk about this than Brian Salmon from Channel 3 Sports? Talk a little NFL with him when we get back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You are listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. It's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices. Office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero. Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Look, it's impossible for the average person to find a great attorney out there. There's so much misinformation. Now, let me introduce you to former Chief Deputy District Attorney Thomas Moskal. He was Las Vegas's top DUI prosecutor for years. He prosecuted the most high-profile DUI cases in Clark County. No one knows more about DUI law in Nevada. Just Google it. If you get charged with DUI, whether it's a misdemeanor or even more importantly, a felony, you need Thomas Moskal representing you. His relationships with the prosecutors and judges and his knowledge of DUI law to work for you. So give him a call now or text him at 702-848-5555. It's your life and liberty that's at stake. Don't wait. Call now. That number again, 702-848-5555.
Hungry for the best barbecue in Las Vegas? Come out to the infamous barbecue and meat market, John Moles Meats and Roadkill Grill in Las Vegas. John Moles was featured on the Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Now take home delicious meat selections for your grill, and while you're there, grab a bite of the best barbecue in Las Vegas. With 2 locations now at Tom and Gowan or on North Decatur, you're sure to find the perfect meats for your next barbecue or party. Find us online at johnmolemeats.com.
Big Dogs Brewing Company, open 24/7, is an award-winning brewery, a full-service catering business, and a fun, smoke-free brew pub restaurant with a full-service bar, including over 35 craft beers on tap, 35 multi-denomination slot machines, the best gaming promotion, and a lively, dog-friendly outdoor patio. Big Dogs Brewing Company, 4543 North Rancho at Gray. Find out more at BigDogsBrews.com.
Steiner's, the Nevada style pub, invites you to play the best tavern, keno, and video poker in Vegas. Promos are how we roll to make the most of your gaming dollars here with us. Come play our proud partner gaming promotion, Fly Aviators Fly, and receive daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win awesome brand of prizes and big money for all the jackpots each week. It's not only great gaming that Steiner's Pub has, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and Vegas' best appetizers to match. So join us in supporting your Las Vegas Aviators, Golden Knights, Lights, Aces, and the Raiders as we make history in Vegas. Steiner's, the Nevada style pub at 8410 West Cheyenne, 1750 North Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard at Windmill. Steiner's, I love this place.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits, and it is Tuesday. It's a rainy Tuesday in Las Vegas. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at Sahara West Urgent and Primary Care, located at 6125 West Sahara Avenue. No appointment needed, but give them a call, 702-248-0554. You can visit them online, saharawesturgentcare.com. Like I said, I was in and out of there in 20 minutes. Great facility. Jessica and Andrew will take care of you. They took care of me. And the best part is they take most insurances, but if you don't have insurance, $95. Can't beat that. Sahara West Urgent and Primary Care. Tell them that I sent you. We'll be talking to Brian Salmon, Channel 3 Sports, here in just a little bit. The breaking news, Darren Waller, the Raiders traded to the New York Giants. We'll be getting to that. And Jameson Walsh, my hoops guru, will be joining us at the bottom of the hour, where we will be doing a little bit of bracketology. You know, first hour, touching on a lot of topics. You know, I talked a little bit about Michael Irvin, and I talked about how he got hosed here. He lost his job, and it doesn't appear to me that he really did anything wrong. Worst case scenario, he might have said something maybe a little bit inappropriate to an attractive woman, which I would not condone, but there was no sexual assault, and the Marriott and this woman are claiming sexual assault, and guess what? They lied, and that's probably why they were very hesitant and they didn't want to release video of this interaction. We talked about Tiger Woods and how it might be a little expensive for him with this breakup of his latest ex-girlfriend. And then we've been talking a lot about, to me, the differences between the Republican and the Democratic Party. And it's a microcosm of what's going on throughout the country, right? We had Ron DeSantis, who was in Las Vegas over the weekend. And we have Joe Biden that's arriving in Las Vegas tonight. So good luck if you're trying to get a flight out of Vegas tonight. You might have a problem with that. I wouldn't be driving around the roads tonight and tomorrow with Joe Biden's arrival. I'd be very wary of that. There's going to be a lot of issues on the roadways because of that. But I brought this up because, to me, it's a perfect example. To me, anyway, it's a perfect example of the differences between Republicans and Democrats today. Here we have Ron DeSantis, who comes to Las Vegas over the weekend peddling a book, selling a book, promoting a book with no substance, with no solutions to any of the real problems facing this country, which are gun violence, health care, to name a few, the abortion issue. So many different issues facing this country. You want to go to the gas prices and the price of eggs and whatever the case may be. Those are real issues facing this nation right now. Political divide, racial divide, policing. I mean, these are all important issues, right? I think most reasonable Americans, notice how I didn't say Republican or Democrat, this is how most reasonable Americans feel. These are real issues facing the country. And Ron DeSantis didn't talk about any of those issues. He came to Las Vegas peddling his book, as I say that I would use as toilet paper, and brought up what the Republican base and the red meat want to hear about, which is critical race theory, which virtually does not exist. And if you think critical race theory exists, then name me 3 teachers that are doing it in this country with valid proof. Not a parent that goes and complains to somebody, because that's not proof. Give me evidence and real evidence that teachers in this country are teaching critical race theory, because it's not happening and it's a lie. But Ron DeSantis will be talking about that. He'll be talking about drag queens that are reading books in libraries to children because, that's so bad. He'll be talking and complaining about Joe Biden, about how, he'll be bringing up Hunter Biden's laptop. Do Americans really want to hear about that? I mean, I guess if you're a biased right-winger, you would rather talk about Hunter Biden's laptop, and you think you know what's in his laptop, and you'd rather talk about that than talking about the real issues facing this country. By the way, here's a guy who was never a politician, never in the administration, but Republicans don't want to talk about Ivanka Trump, the patents that she got from China when her father was president. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the $2 billion business loan that Jared Kushner got from the Saudis a week before those classified documents were found at Mar-a-Lago. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the bank account that was found under Donald Trump's name in China, a Chinese bank account. Republicans don't want to talk about that. They don't want that being investigated, but they want to investigate somebody who was never a politician. Keep in mind, those 2 names, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, were in Donald Trump's own administration. But Republicans don't want to, investigate that. Nope. They don't want to do that. They'd rather talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. They'd rather talk about critical race theory. And it's so disingenuous. But it goes to show you, when Republicans took the House, what did they do on the first day? Did they try to do what Joe Biden's doing in Las Vegas tonight? Did they talk about trying to lower the cost of prescription drugs? No. They didn't do any of that stuff. What they did do is they talked about Hunter Biden's laptop, because that's what a lot of these Republicans care about, and that's what they are trying to do. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. All right, we are going to switch topics now. As I promised you, big news in Raider Nation. A couple big stories. Of course, yesterday, Garoppolo being the new starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. And then we heard earlier today, Darren Waller traded to the New York Giants. What better person to talk about this than my man, Brian Salmon with Channel 3 Sports, joining us. He does a great job covering the Raiders. Brian, thanks for coming on. How are you?
What's going on, B, man? I'm doing okay, man. I'm battling these allergies over here, man. But I'm doing well. What's up, B?
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, the weather's pretty crappy out there. I get some allergies as well. Sorry to hear that. Man, I got a lot to talk to you about when it comes to the Raiders. What was your first reaction when you heard that Darren Waller was traded?
Wow. That's a gut punch, man. I literally sent out a message with a friend of mine, because I did Darren Waller's very first interview with a friend of mine, his podcast called Black in Sports. It's with the guy named EJ and EJ Cutler. And we had Darren Waller in studio, mask, all this kind of stuff. And he just put it back out, saying, not congratulations, but shout out to Darren Waller. I thought about it, like, man, he's one of my favorite guys here in town, man. He's a super nice, personable guy. A guy that I would always talk to at Aces games or in the locker room just in passing, just to talk to him. And besides the fact that he's a great football player. So, man, I think that's really sad. The biggest thing that popped in my head is like, man, Josh McDaniels better win. He better win because they're completely demolishing the team. So hopefully it turns out for the best.
What did you make of Davante Adams going on social media? And I'm kind of paraphrasing. I think it was in regards to Garoppolo, where he said, "You guys haven't talked to me in 3 weeks. Don't hit me up now." I mean, I think we all could read between the lines there. He had to be talking about the Garoppolo acquisition, and I guess he's claiming that the Raiders haven't been in contact with him the last several weeks, so he doesn't want to hear from them now.
Wow. I didn't see that. I'm looking it up on my phone now. If that's the case, that's terrible. You know what I mean? Like that, because prior to them getting Garoppolo, and I think even Davante Adams even mentioned this during his exit interviews, the fact that, the Raiders, would he be in contact with the Raiders, and, they talk about whom they bring in because, he wanted to have some sort of say, or just at least, some kind of conversations with the quarterback that's coming in, because he came here for Derek Carr. He also came to be with the Raiders, and if the Raiders are going to get a new quarterback or new somebody to throw him the ball, that he'd like to have some say in it. But I'm looking at it right now.
He didn't specifically mention the Raiders, but on social media he did make that comment. It's been seen out there in public, and like I said, I'm paraphrasing, but I saw the statement earlier. He said, "You guys haven't hit me up in 3 weeks, and don't hit me up now." That's basically what he said. And I think we all know what he's talking about. I haven't spoken to...
Oh.
You see it?
Yeah, I'm reading it now. Honestly, I'm reading it now.
Yeah.
And the way that I'm reading it, it's I think it's more to insiders trying to get the inside scoop. That's what he says. Don't make too much of it. Phone dry. Then here comes everybody trying to get the inside scoop. He's like, it's annoying. That's it.
No, that's a different
Let's get
statement.
this money.
That's a different
22
one.
hours ago.
Yeah, but that's a different one. He had made a statement yesterday on social media saying, "You guys didn't hit me up in 3 weeks. Don't hit me up now." He didn't mention the Raiders specifically, but I think we all could read between the lines there. I haven't spoken to one Raider fan that is jumping for joy, excited that Garoppolo is coming to town. Have you?
Yes, I have. and all of them are female.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I can understand why they would be excited. But I can tell you right now, if, I don't know, Jessica Alba was our new starting quarterback, I mean, that'd be nice, but I wouldn't be excited about it from a football standpoint.
Yeah, no, I feel you. You know what, though, man? Wow. So, Barstool Sports, or something, I guess Barstool Sports put Davante must have erased his message. Yeah, you know what? Personally, as far as me being wanting the team to do well and everything else, choice. I thought Jimmy Garoppolo would be the number 2 choice. I personally think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a good fit for the team. The only thing that makes it not a good fit, in any opinion, to me, is the fact that he's not healthy at all. Like he's not going to last the entire season. If he does last the entire season, then I'll be shocked. You know what I mean? So
well, they need some improvements on the
but as far as
offensive
like
line,
his
right?
skill set and everything else, I think he's comparable to what Derek Carr, not bad Derek Carr, but good Derek Carr. Like Jimmy Garoppolo at his best, Derek Carr is his best. I think the numbers will kind of show that. I mean, he's a capable quarterback. But especially with the weapons, I don't think he's going to be asked to be Aaron Rodgers, and he can't be Aaron Rodgers. So, but who knows? Maybe maybe he won't have the weapons that he thinks he's going to have. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have Waller. I remember yesterday doing this on television. There's a graphic that was out. It had Garoppolo, Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller all on this graphic. And talked about the Raiders' weaponry. on offense. I'm like, man, that's a good group. But now you take Waller off of there, and who knows if Devontae is going to be like, you know what, man, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go to L.A. You know what I mean? But who knows?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. Who knows what's going to happen next? And we all know Devontae is one of the best, if not the best receiver in all of the NFL. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. If you're just joining us, he's Brian Salmon, Channel 3 Sports, talking about two breaking stories in the last 24 hours. The Raiders getting Garoppolo as their starting quarterback, at least we would assume. And then the other breaking news that took place this morning is Darren Waller. I don't think anybody saw this coming, traded to the New York Giants. To me, you mentioned a good point. Garoppolo has been injured. He's suffered from injuries. This is also a guy that knows what it takes to get to a Super Bowl, though. I don't look at this and say to myself, oh, my God, the Raiders are now Super Bowl contenders. I don't look at that at all. But I do believe, Brian, and you tell me whether you agree or not, that this is still an upgrade from Derek Carr. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's an upgrade, but I think that it's it can be an upgrade. To me, they're equal. And I think Derek Carr at his best right now to Jimmy Garoppolo at his best right now, I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback at their best right now. But moving forward, I think that Garoppolo has an opportunity to be better for the Raiders with McDaniels and everything else than Derek Carr has been, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
I think it can be an upgrade. Obviously you just got to wait and see. But I think it can be a very good fit. I like the fit of Garoppolo coming to the Raiders since Derek Carr is gone. And with the money and everything else, the money that they saved, you can look at it that way, that it's definitely an upgrade if you think about how much money they saved, and they're going to be able to allocate resources to try to shore up the defense, because that's really what the problem is. The offense can always score. The defense can't hold anybody. So if they can use some of the money they saved with Derek Carr getting his $160 million in New Orleans, I believe it was, to Garoppolo only getting, what was it, $72 million, I believe it was total.
Right.
So,
Yep.
You have money left over. So if you look at it in that respect, everything in its totality, I say, yeah, it's an upgrade in that respect.
Are the Raiders a better football team right now, including Darren Waller not on the field? Are the Raiders a better football team today than they were 2 months ago?
I would say better football team. I say no. You said with Darren Waller being gone as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's not good.
And
right? You want to be a better football
no, it's
team.
not. It's not. But they can be. Again, like if they take, let's say they get themselves a really good cornerback, and they get themselves a pass rusher who can help Max Crosby out. If you add those two pieces along with Garoppolo, and Waller is gone, and that they use the money again. They use the money that they got from Derek Carr. Then I think they can be a better team.
Well, let's
and
hope so.
How about this? Garoppolo can absolutely play much better than Derek Carr played this past season.
Yeah, no, that's certainly true. I guess we're gonna. I can't imagine that the Raiders are not going to be making plenty of more moves here in the next few months. You need a better offensive line. You got to give Garoppolo protection. We don't want this guy getting hurt in his first game. That's going to be a key piece, I think, to the puzzle. Brian, as you know, it is March, and it is March Madness. Your thoughts as a whole? I thought UNLV women got a terrible seed, and they kind of got screwed, for lack of a better term. UNLV men, a disappointing season, but for the UNLV women, they got a tough first-round matchup.
Man, they got screwed in a big way. They got screwed in a big way. And just looking at it, because I was planning on going out there, but Jesse's going to end up going out there now. I just had changed the flights and whatnot. So, but looking at the draw, as far as like how the tournament's going, the NCAA tournament, or the NCAA selection committee, completely screwed the Lady Rebels. They have a regional in L.A. They have one, I believe, in Tucson. They have one in Utah. They have one in Austin, Texas. And they passed up 4 sites to send UNLV to Baton Rouge? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, what? Baton Rouge. So you basically don't want any Rebel fans to go support their team, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Like however, with all that being said, I do believe that they have a really good opportunity to beat Michigan, and that that's like a pick'em game to me, honestly.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. You know, it's just I just don't think the Rebels got any respect. You go undefeated in the Mountain West Conference, you win the conference tournament, and you're an 11 seed. I think it's absurd. As far as the UNLV win goes, Brian, obviously you have to be happy with the second half fight that they had against Boise, but all in all, in its totality, this was a very disappointing season for Kevin Kruger in year 2. I would imagine you'd probably agree with that.
Yeah, very disappointing season. The only thing you can somewhat take solace in, if you're a running Rebel fan or Kruger or anyone, is the fact that they swept UNR, and UNR is going to the tournament as an at-large team. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I saw that. It's like, wow. So Nevada gets in, UNLV swept them. So if they could have found a way to kind of string together some stuff, and you know, they could have they could have and probably should have had a better season.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
The talent.
Like what I've told people is I think you got to give him year 3. He's got to show vast improvement next year. I think it's time to look for another coach. And I like Kevin Kruger. You know, I've always liked him. He's a good dude, and he's an easy guy to root for. But you have to show improvement next year. And if Kevin doesn't, I think if you're Harper, you got to look for somebody else. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely get. I couldn't agree more. I mean, he definitely has to have 3 years at least. And
yep.
And you give him next year, and if there isn't, it's vast. I mean, if you don't finish, you know what? I think that you have to make the tournament next year. You got to make the tournament.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think that if you compete for a Mountain West Conference title, and what I mean by compete is top 3 in the league, you're right there, and maybe an NIT bid next year, then I think you can make the argument you bring him back year 4. I don't know what the conference is going to look like. I mean, but 4 teams in the tournament this year, which I don't necessarily agree with, but you put 4 in this year, I understand why you would have an opinion like that. If they're going to get 3 or 4 teams in there next year, then if UNLV's not in the mix, you know, then I think we're speaking the same language. If you compete for a conference title, you're one of the 3 best teams in the league, then you should get into the tournament. So, I agree with you on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my line of thinking. That was exactly my line of thinking. You got 4 teams in there. UNLV, there's no way that they should absolutely be one of the top 4 teams in the Mountain West Conference next year. If they're not one of the top 4 teams we're in agreement
on that. It's going to be a fun rest of the month, Bri, as you know, and we've got the West Regional in Las Vegas. Always fun watching the NCAA tournament. I'm really looking forward to that. Not this week, but next week. And Brian Salmon, it is always a pleasure talking to you. I know it's a pretty busy day for you guys over there at Channel 3. A lot of stuff going on with Raider Nation. And yeah, it's a busy time. But Brian, I always appreciate it when you take the time to join me, my man. Thank you so much. And I'll be watching you on TV this week. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, B, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. So, sorry about we got our wires crossed here for a hot second, man. But, yeah, I enjoy doing the show all the time.
I appreciate that. Bri, that means a lot. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day. I hope you're feeling better.
You do the same, my man. Be good.
All right, Bri, thanks so much. Brian Salmon does a great job, Channel 3 Sports. It's always a pleasure having him on. And, by the way, programming note, the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow, so you're certainly not going to want to miss that. I also ask all of you to join me on my YouTube page, which is PTL Vegas, where you could subscribe and watch every show. We also broadcast live on TikTok, on my Pushing Limits LV Twitter page, on the Facebook fan page, which is PTL Vegas as well. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I alluded to a little bit of something called March Madness. Oh, yeah. We're going to give my picks. I'm going to give some of mine. My hoops guru, Jameson Welsh, is going to be joining me next. We're going to break down all of what is March Madness. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You are listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
I stumbled out across the sea. Start the revolution. The words I heard were not for me. Could they be true? Should I escape the mystery and this disillusion? Someday I'll find a
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Look, it's impossible for the average person to find a great attorney out there. There's so much misinformation. Now, let me introduce you to former Chief Deputy District Attorney Thomas Moskal. He was Las Vegas's top DUI prosecutor for years. He prosecuted the most high-profile DUI cases in Clark County. No one knows more about DUI law in Nevada. Just Google it. If you get charged with DUI, whether it's a misdemeanor or even more importantly, a felony, you need Thomas Moskal representing you. His relationships with the prosecutors and judges and his knowledge of DUI law to work for you. So give him a call now or text him at 702-848-5555. It's your life and liberty that's at stake. Don't wait. Call now. That number again, 702-848-5555. Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Got to tell you about my favorite gaming bar in town, man. I love it. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. I'm actually heading out there today. Going to bring my mom over there, grab some food. They got some great promotions, man. Great food, great atmosphere, great bartenders. Their promotions this month are awesome. Besides the Pass the Puck contest during Vegas Golden Knights games, if you earn 200 points on Wednesdays or Sundays, you get $50 in free slot play, man. That's pretty cool right there in itself. Jackson's Bar and Grill. Please check them out. Tell them I sent you. I promise you, you're going to have a great time. My favorite gaming bar in town. I've been going there for years. I think I've been going there for like 10 years. I mean, this place has been there for 2 decades. Jackson's Bar and Grill. Check them out. So, as I mentioned, we have a little something this month called March Madness. Part of the March Madness, a large part of it has been here with all these conference basketball tournaments. And we have the West Regional that's going to be here, not this week, of course, but next week, which is pretty darn cool. And the man that I wanted to talk to break it all down, maybe talk a little NBA as well, because there's a lot going on in the NBA as well. My hoops guru himself, it's been a little while since we had him on, Jamison Walsh joining us. Jamison, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me as always. Definitely appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Jamison. Hey, before we talk some hoops, what's your reaction to 2 things in regards to the Raiders? I just want to get your thoughts on this. Mr. Garoppolo as the starting quarterback for the Raiders and the fact that they just got rid of Darren Waller to the New York Giants.
So the Garoppolo deal is basically a 1-year deal. And we look at the contract, the way it's structured, they can get out of it after year 1 without a whole lot of penalty. So it looks like a stopgap situation. They can still either trade up for a guy. There's a lot of things they can do. They can trade up for one of the quarterbacks in the draft. They can basically buy time into next year's draft. It gives them a lot of options. The Garoppolo is just a regular guy. You're going to have some ups and downs, but he gives you a chance to win some games with the weapons they have. Should be okay as long as they keep Devontae Adams. I think it should be okay on offense. But we know Garoppolo gets hurt, so you're going to need a backup quarterback as well that's able to come in and play at a decent level as well, because we know Jimmy Garoppolo's not playing 17 games. It just never happens that way.
Right.
Getting rid of Waller is interesting because, one, he hasn't had like full seasons the last 2 years. Like, he's been hurt this time both seasons. Those 2 seasons prior, he played very well. So I understand where the kind of panic is coming from. But from a business standpoint, a production standpoint, it's hard to justify paying someone top money in their position if they're not playing most of the games. And that's where, from the business side of things, the team has to make a decision saying, hey, we can get production for a lot less expensive than to keep paying a guy top 5 in his position and not get the production we're looking for.
Right. I think time will have to tell, but they certainly need to have some improvements on the offensive line. We just had Brian Solomon on who agreed with me on that. You got to protect Garoppolo, and the key is he's got to stay healthy. No, I don't expect him to be playing 17 games. We'll have to wait and see how that happens. All right, March Madness. Before we get to March Madness, your thoughts on the UNLV men. I thought it was a disappointing year, too. I think you give Kevin Kruger one more year and see what he can do. But what were your thoughts on UNLV men's basketball this year?
So it was disappointing, especially how it started. You know, they start out really hot. The win versus Dayton seemed like an afterthought. You know, Dayton at the time was a top 25 team. You know, that's one of those things that kind of gets forgotten. And they lost to San Francisco, a game they should have won. They were up late, kind of blew that game. But we went to overtime, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like they never really recovered from that game. It seems like you look back at the season, you look at how things went, it seems like if they would have found a way to win that game, things may go differently. I think they would have been 8-0 at the time, and then who knows what happened. They may have been ranked at that time. Who knows? But now it just feels like you look back at the season, and it just never caught any type of momentum. It never felt like they were ever going to recover. And now you're talking about, you know, there's rumors about Kevin Kruger, and I don't know, like, if he's the guy or if he's too young. I don't want to necessarily, you know, call for someone's job 2 years in because that's not really fair. But at the same time, there is a different AD now that's in charge, and we do know how these things do go. Also, who's making the calls? Is the athletic director making the decisions or the boosters making the decision?
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of things going forward. I do think he should get a third year because it doesn't look right if you keep firing guys after 2 years or getting rid of guys.
Right.
It doesn't look right.
I agree.
I would keep him for a third year, but it has to be some stipulations on that third year.
I completely agree with you. There has to be stipulations. I think something else that's a factor is that he lost his 2 top assistant coaches last year, which certainly hurt from a recruiting standpoint. Still Kevin Kruger's responsibility. I get that. I think you got to give him one more year, and in those stipulations, I would say, all right, you got to compete for a title. I'm not saying you have to win a title, but what I mean compete is be in the mix, just like Boise State was in the mix, just like Utah State was in the mix. Listen, we can argue about Nevada, and we can talk about that. I don't think Nevada deserved to be in the tournament, even though it's a playing game. But that, to me, that's what's in the mix. Nevada, Utah State, Boise. They were all in the mix. UNLV.
And they didn't play Wednesday afternoon.
Exactly.
When you're playing a conference tournament Wednesday afternoon, it's never a good thing.
Couldn't agree with you more. That was the next thing I was going to say. You can't be in the playing game. That's just a joke. But he's got to do more than just get out of the playing game. If San Jose State, and listen, Tim Miles is a really good basketball coach. It's why he was the coach of the year. But if Tim Miles can do what he did with the talent that he had, there's no reason why Kevin Kruger can't, unless he's just not the right guy for the job. As you said, he might not be. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. And I think he's on a short leash. I think Eric Harper knows that. And if he doesn't have a good year in year 3, I think he's gone. All right, let's talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament. Let's start with the Mountain West. Let's start with Nevada. I thought the last couple weeks of the season was just a dismal performance by UNR. I was actually surprised to see that they were in the tournament, even though it's the playing game. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's funny because you just don't know what team you're going to get. It's the same like the team they're going to get. Like Arizona State, I've seen Arizona State look like a top 25 team some nights.
Right.
I've also seen them look like a bottom 25 team some nights. Nevada's a little bit different. They're not as talented as Arizona State, but at the same time, I get why they're in the tournament, especially when we look at all the other teams that are like the first 4 out. Like, they're better than the other first 4 out teams. So I get why they made it. However, these two teams are the mirror images of each other. Like, literally in terms of inconsistency and kind of like, all right, yeah, you can make an argument if they both didn't make it, you would understand. And they both made it. You're like, oh, okay, that's fine. I think we have a good game, though. I think this game gets a little bit high scoring. I think both teams will put points up. I would probably favor Nevada in this game, to be honest with you. I really would. Yeah, I would. And the reason why is this. Arizona State, when it comes down to it, which team are we? I think Nevada is a little bit more consistent than Arizona State. I just don't know what Arizona State team we're going to get.
So I agree that there's no question that Nevada is more consistent, even though they've had a bad last couple weeks of the year. I personally also believe that in a game like this where it's do or die in the NCAA tournament, I believe you're probably going to get your best out of Arizona State. And if Nevada plays their best game and Arizona State plays their best game, I think we can agree Arizona State's a better team. They've got better players. That's why I'm going with Arizona State, but we'll have to wait and see what happens here. The rest of the Mountain West Conference, San Diego State with an interesting first-round matchup where a lot of people are saying that San Diego State can go down. Boise State, first-round matchup. Utah State, first-round matchup. I think those two games are coin flips. What do you make of the other Mountain West Conference matchups in the tournament?
So you mentioned Boise State. Boise State's playing against Northwestern, who's having a really interesting year. That's going to be a very, very fun matchup. Unfortunately, very few people watch Boise because they're in the Mountain Time Zone, and the Mountain Time Zone gets forgotten about. Like, that's the one thing sports fans forget about the most is events that happen in that time zone. But they're a very well-coached team. I think Leon Rice is one of the best coaches in the country that doesn't get respect. Unfortunately, West Coast hoops gets forgotten about, especially the smaller schools. But Leon Rice is a guy that should probably have a better job than Boise State, and he's going to have his guys ready to play. However, a lot of Mountain West teams outside of San Diego State have had hard times getting out of round one. So in order to get respect, you got to produce. So it would be nice to see them upset Northwestern, even though they're having a kind of a miracle year for what they do.
Right.
San Diego State can't be the only team in the conference to get out of round one. Someone else has to step up.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's time now. The selection committee has put 4 teams in the tournament. 2 of those teams better win a game, or it's going to be an embarrassment. We saw what happened the last several years. San Diego State's got to win some games, and that first-round game is not going to be easy for them, so I tend to agree with you. What are some of the other intriguing matchups that you see early on in this tournament?
So there's one fun one. There's UConn versus Iona.
Yes.
Iona is obviously coached by Rick Pitino, who's rumored to be taking over St. John's or whatever other job comes up. We know Rick Pitino is probably one of the best 5 coaches to ever coach the sport in terms of college basketball. He's going to have his guys ready to play. I don't think they can beat UConn, but there's a lot of people around the UConn fan base that believe that Danny Hurley hasn't really won a big game yet. So it's very interesting to see having to go against Rick Pitino in a game like this, 13 versus the 4, not necessarily automatic win. So that's a very fascinating game in my eyes. I do think UConn does get the win, but it's not going to be easy. I think that one's fascinating just based off the storylines. The funnest situation, though, I think, is the Texas and Texas A&M potential round 2 bracket. I think that's fun. I think that's where things get very, very interesting at. And, we'll see. We'll see if that comes about because Penn State has played very well down the stretch. But I think that if we get a Texas A&M potential round 2, both schools hate each other. Texas A&M is having a great year. Texas, with everything that's going on with Chris Beard and then Rodney Terry taking over and doing very well. Texas, if they get past round 2, I think they can run that whole bracket. I think they're that good and they've been that hot lately.
I agree. Those matchups you brought up, especially Pitino versus Hurley, that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so call me crazy, Jamison, but Grand Canyon's getting 15.5 points against Gonzaga. I like the way Gonzaga's played toward the end of the year, winning the West Coast Conference Tournament, taking care of St. Mary's. We know how good Drew Timme is. They've got good guard play. This is not as good of a Gonzaga team as that we've seen in years past. I watched Grand Canyon play in the WAC here. They are a really good team. Now, I understand they weren't playing Gonzaga. I get that. But they got good guard play. They've got senior leadership. They got guys underneath the basket that can score. Call me crazy, but I could see this being a very, very close game.
So before we get into this matchup, we got to give a shout out to our friend Todd Simon.
Sure.
We just got the Bowling Green job, first and foremost.
Oh, I didn't know that. When did that happen?
About an hour ago.
I did not know that.
So we got to give a shout out to him because you mentioned Grand Canyon. Southern Utah played Grand Canyon on late Saturday night to get the automatic bid. So that's the first thing.
I didn't know that.
You are correct, though, about your assessment. Here's the thing. Grand Canyon is extremely athletic, and they shoot the basketball. Historically, Gonzaga has struggled against teams that are very athletic and shoot the basketball. This is not one of the better Gonzaga teams. They've had a lot of hiccups this year, even if some of their wins have been a lot closer than they should have been. Drew Timmy's good. Strother's pretty good. They have a couple other guys that are all right, but it's not the same Gonzaga team that you're used to. It's not the Final Four type of teams that they've had in the past. I do think 15.5 is a little bit much. I see that game being a lot bit closer because Grand Canyon is just as good as some of those WCC teams that play Gonzaga tough during the regular season. So I can see on a neutral court that game being in the single digits.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I just really like the way Grand Canyon coached. I did not know that Todd Simon just got that job and rightfully deserved. I mean, here's a guy, and I'll have to maybe get Todd on the show tomorrow. Here's a guy that coached high school basketball here at Findlay Prep, did a great job there. And then he was the assistant coach under Dave Rice, interim head coach, did a good job. UNLV decides not to hire him as the official head coach. He goes over to Southern Utah. Southern Utah, one of the worst teams in the country, turns the program around within a few years. They're one of the best teams in the Big Sky. Gets Southern Utah into the WAC, which is the 11th best conference in the country. The WAC is not a bad conference. And in year one, he not only gets them as the number 3 seed, third in the conference, but also gets them to the finals of the WAC tournament. I mean, this is tons of accomplishments.
That's good fortune though, because the semifinal game could have went a different way. But
you're right about that.
Nonetheless, he did go to the final.
You're right. That semifinal game could have gone either way, but it shows you the fight and the tenacity of him. A lot of teams would have quit, and Todd just doesn't have a group of guys like that. He's a great recruiter. I think he's going to do a great job over there at the Bowling Green, and I wish him the best of luck, and he's actually going to have a budget to work with, so I'm going to have to give him a call and congratulate him. But I'm really happy for Todd Simon, and all the great work he did here in Vegas and Southern Utah has now paid off for him, and it couldn't happen to a better guy. When we look at some of the other matchups, and I look at the West region, right? It's a mega region with Kansas and UCLA, and I could see those two teams meeting here in Las Vegas, which would be an unbelievable basketball game with how good UCLA is on defense, and we all know, how talented Kansas is. What do you make of this West region?
West region's fun. I think Kansas can have their hands full in round 2. Arkansas is extremely talented. So is Illinois. So that's going to be interesting. UCLA, even though they have an injury to probably their best pro prospect, they defend very well and they have experience. And if UCLA plays Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, that would be a really big box office moment, and you're going to see a lot of flashbacks from like 16 years ago. Yeah. So, be prepared for that if that comes about. But yes, if you have a chance, if we can get Kansas versus UConn, and if we can get UCLA Gonzaga as the 4 teams that meet up next week out here, you have a lot of fireworks because you have basically 4 brands that can really bring it, and you have such for some really good games. However, I think it's anyone's ball game. I don't think there's one individual favorite this year. The best team I've seen all year has been Alabama. However, I don't see Alabama being the team to hold the trophy at the end of the year based off what happened during their season. Like I'd be very surprised if we see a team that went through all that get one shining moment, and that's just how that goes. Could be wrong, but it's just very odd to see a team that had all that go on and CBS putting them on for one shining moment. But crazy things have happened.
You are correct, sir. But I think this is going to be a very interesting March. Are there any teams, I've heard Drake in the mix. Do you have any teams that you say to yourself, there's a team that's under the radar that I could see making a deep run in the NCAA tournament that people are really not talking about?
Watch out for Memphis. They're old. I don't trust Purdue that much, but Memphis is very old. They have a lot of experience. They can defend, and they're athletic. And they have a guy that can really score the ball at the guard position. So, for me, Memphis is one of those teams to watch out for, and they're coming in on a heater. They did beat Houston, even though Houston was missing their best player on Sunday in that conference championship game. But a team like Memphis that's like an 8 seed, I can see them giving people problems just based off their experience and their athleticism, and they know how to defend, and that's always key around this time of year. Drake's not a bad pick. I don't mind that one per se, but for me, a team like Memphis would be the team I would put a closer look in. And also Texas A&M. Texas A&M has played very well this year, all things considered. That's a team. If they match up with Texas, that'd be a very good matchup. And who knows what happens in that matchup? But that'd be a very fun one to to keep track of because they do have talent. They play at a high level thus far.
All right, so give me your pick, and I know it's a very difficult thing to do, but who do you think is going to be cutting down the nets and winning this thing?
Man, it is a very, very difficult decision. It's tough going against Alabama, but like previously stated, they have some issues. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to pick Texas. I'm going to pick Texas because everything that's gone on, the way they blew out Kansas on Saturday, that showed a lot to me. Normally when you have a team with a interim type of coach, you don't get those kind of performances. It's almost kind of like Michigan in '89 when, the coach stepped down before the tournament and they went on to win it. I'm going to go with Texas. I think Texas has enough talent. I think they're well coached and they're on high. I think Texas would be my pick if I had to pick right now.
Not a bad pick at all. Speaking of Texas, I want to ask you this. Are you surprised that Chris Beard got a job so soon?
No, he can coach very well, and there's not any. So morally, yes, I'm very surprised, and it probably shouldn't happen. But legally, nah, this is how it goes. Just like Will Wade got a job as well, and Will Wade, had a federal wiretap that he was on, basically cheating. Yeah. So not surprised. It's just how things go. It's just unfortunate that a lot of the assistant coaches that were involved have not gotten jobs, right. And that to me is messed up. Especially with the FBI, so that happened a few years back. Will Wade gets a job, nothing happens. Chris Beard, allegedly abuses his wife or his girlfriend or whoever she is, and he gets another SEC job 3 months later. Yeah. That's not right, but that's how it goes in this industry.
Yeah, and I know the people over there at Mississippi State, right? I know the people over there would probably be saying, well, he wasn't, the charges were dropped. And listen, from a legal standpoint, I understand that, but from a pragmatic standpoint, we all know what took place there. He got into a scuffle with his wife. Or girlfriend? Do we know exactly what happened? No, but it was inappropriate. It was embarrassing to the university, and Mississippi State is basically saying, well, it's all good because he wasn't charged, and I find that problematic, but that's their decision, and that's what they decided to hang their hat on. So we know he's a good basketball coach, and to some universities, winning games is more important than doing the right thing, and I think that's what Mississippi State did.
It's Ole Miss. It's Ole
I'm
Miss,
sorry. Did I say Mississippi State? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Old Miss. I got my M's wrong, Mr. Jameson. My apologies. Well, are you going to be going to the West Regional next week?
I may be there Thursday. I can't do Saturday, but I may be there Thursday. So
that's going to be fun. And in Vegas too, Jameson. How cool is this?
Right.
Having the 2023 NCAA tournament. And I got to tell you something. While I love the first and second round games, they're exciting. I think I'd rather have the West Regional here because I think you're going to have some of the highest quality of basketball, and I think the team that comes out of there could certainly win the whole thing. I think that's a great region.
I mean, if we get Kansas and UCLA at the end of the day, or even UConn, UCLA, or whatever, if we get one of those top four matchups, that's a huge, huge, huge event. But we're getting a Final Four here in the future, and that's going to be better.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's going to be amazing. But, yes, getting a Sweet 16 Elite Eight here is awesome. Never would have thought we'd get it, but here we are.
Here we are, and it is Vegas. We got so much going on here. Jamison Walsh, I always appreciate you taking the time to join us, as always. Great stuff, my friend, and we'll see you out there next week, okay?
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Jamison. Again, Jamison Walsh, my hoops guru. I've been doing radio with that guy for a really long time. Really knows his stuff. Appreciate him coming on. Programming note for you tomorrow on the show. The Mooch himself, I think he lasted, 11 or 12 days as Donald Trump's press secretary. The Mooch is going to be joining us with video, believe it or not. Apologies for the YouTube audio issues we had earlier. But the Mooch is going to be joining us tomorrow. That's certainly going to be a lot of fun. We got some more special guests that are going to be joining us the rest of the week. Also, my thanks to Brian Salmon from Channel 3 Sports for joining us. Wow, what a 24 hours it's been for the Raiders. My God. You get Garoppolo as your starting quarterback, and now some people, Raider Nation, have a smile on their face and now a frown because you just lost Darren Waller. And what's really unfortunate about this is that what Brian Salmon said is right. Darren Waller is a good dude. He's literally saved lives. He's talked about addiction that he's struggled through in his life, and he's turned that into so many positives. He's helped so many people in this community. I'm not too happy about this, but that's part of the nature of the business, I guess. And that's the decision that Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels and the rest of the staff decided to make. So, Raider Nation, you're just going to have to live with it, I guess. Thanks all for joining us today. Really appreciate that. Please subscribe to my YouTube page, which is PTL Vegas. We gained like 400 or 500 subscribers this month. So I appreciate all of you joining us on there. Please subscribe to that. Also, my Twitter page, which is Pushing Limits LV. And the Facebook fan page, which is PTL Vegas. KSHP also has a new website up. Looks good. Just went up yesterday, so take a shot at that and take a look at that as well. And appreciate all of you joining us. I'll have a big announcement when it comes to this show. I have a huge announcement to make tomorrow to start the show. It has something to do with a co-host. So that's a little clue. So we'll see you tomorrow, my friends. Have a great and rainy afternoon in Las Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.